It is Tuesday, which of course means it's time to answer the questions that you guys send in every single week on the BrendenPlayz forums at BrendenPlayz.com/forums or in the YouTube comment section down below. Alright, so we're coming off Monday Night Raw. We have the Elimination Chamber PPV up next, so things are, I guess, heating up. I don't know what to say, really. I mean, this week's Raw, it was good, but definitely the last couple of weeks have been much better. But, you know, I kind of faded out a little bit during the show. I was doing some other things. I was only kind of half paying attention to it. But I guess this show just kind of missed that little surprise factor that we've had in the recent shows. But, yeah, like I said, not a bad show. Elimination Chamber up next this Sunday. So that should be pretty exciting. I think the Chamber's going to be pretty fun. I'm looking forward to it, actually. I think the tag team match, despite having some pretty poor teams in it, will be good. The IC title match could go anyway. We don't know what direction they're headed in with that. And, of course, we have Ambrose and Rollins. I think we know Rollins is going to win, but I think it's still going to be pretty exciting and pretty fun match to watch. And then we have Owens and Cena. I mean, that's another bit of a questionable match. You know, we don't know which way it's going to go. Probably going to say Cena's going to win, but you never know. So, Elimination Chamber is looking pretty good, which means a big episode of Let's Talk Tuesday is coming up for you guys this week. But before we get into today's show, just want to let you know where you guys can go ahead and find the show. You can download the show on iTunes, Spreaker, and Stitcher. We're trying to get on iHeartRadio. We need 100 followers on Spreaker to do it. Now, we're currently at, I think, 50 or 49, so we're very, very close. So if you guys have a Spreaker account, please go and follow the show on Spreaker. If you could, please make one. Please support the show and follow us on there. We just need 100 followers. We've already got our plays and our downloads are fine. You know, we're doing really well in that regard. We just need the followers on there, and I think iHeartRadio will give us the big tick if we can get those followers. So 100 followers on Spreaker. Like I said last week, Spreaker's been doing really, really well. So I've got to thank everyone that's been supporting the show. And if you guys are, I don't know, let me know. Let me know where you're watching the show from, listening to the show from. Are you on iTunes? Are you on Spreaker, Stitcher, YouTube? Let me know so I can kind of get a bit of a gauge, because I don't know how many people's listening on iTunes. I know roughly how many people's listening on Spreaker, and I obviously know YouTube. So, and Stitcher's pretty irrelevant. Nobody's really listening on that. But just let me know. Tweet at me, or if you're in the YouTube comments, you want to come by later on and leave a comment where you're listening. Just let me know where you're listening to the show at, so I can get a bit of an idea, and so I can kind of see what's going on. Because I really have no idea at the moment who's listening where. It's kind of frustrating. And, you know, because you're spread out on so many different platforms, it's kind of frustrating that you can't just have all the data in one. You know, that's kind of the problem with going to iTunes, Spreaker, and whatever, instead of just sticking on YouTube. But it's definitely worth it. But, you know, I kind of asked this because the YouTube count, the view count has been dipping away a little bit, so I'm guessing that you guys are going to these other different avenues and listening there, which is a good thing. I think that's cool. I think that's the whole purpose of the show, is for you guys to go to iTunes, listen in there, Spreaker, listen in there, download the show, and listen to it whenever the hell you want. Because I know when you're on your phone and you're trying to listen to something on YouTube, you have to keep it going all the time. You can't just click away and then go to something else. You know, it's kind of frustrating. It's really annoying. So if you could just get the podcast up on your phone, you can do whatever the hell you want on your phone and listen to it. If you're on your computer, it's pretty easy. Just have the YouTube video in the background. But definitely on your phone, I think the podcast format is really handy, and having it on iTunes and everything else is really handy for that regard. And I know I like to listen to a lot of podcasts whilst I'm driving, and whilst I'm just using my phone, and or whilst I'm gaming, definitely gaming. And, you know, it's kind of annoying to have the laptop sitting next to me when I'm trying to game. I'd rather just have my phone in my pocket, or, you know, beside me. So it's a lot easier if I have it on the phone. So definitely, like I said, let me know where you guys are listening to the show from. And that's pretty much about it. Of course, if you want to leave a question for next week's show, you can do that by going to the forum. It's BrendenPlayz.com/forums. There is a Let's Talk Tuesdays thread. What you need to do is sign up or log in, then go to BrendenPlayz General Discussion, click on Channel Discussion, and then it'll be a big Let's Talk Tuesday thread right at the top of the page. So you should be able to find it. And I know some of you guys are kind of a little bit lost on the forums, don't know how to kind of navigate it around. It just takes a couple minutes to kind of get used to it. But there will be a link to the direct link to where you need to go to answer a question in the description below. So that should help you guys out. And speaking of forums, we're at 700 members this week as well, so that's pretty cool. And we've got a lot of new guys coming on. So if you guys have been coming in from the podcast or from the Twitch or just from the YouTube, I thank each and every one of you that's been coming in. It's been really cool to have some new people on there. So if you're wanting to join a forum, definitely recommend the BrendenPlayz forums. It's not just about talking my channel, not just about talking wrestling, just about talking whatever. And we actually had a gaming night happen on the weekend. We kind of have these gaming nights all the time where we get on and it'd be 7 or 8 of us come on from the forums and we play some Battlefield together. We generally stream it as well on my Twitch channel, so that's pretty cool. We get a lot of people that I don't know, but they are fans of the show and they're fans of the channel, and they come in, we get to know them, and everyone has a good time. So it's pretty cool. It's a nice little community we got built in there, and I think that's really awesome to be a part of, and it's pretty cool to be playing with these guys, and we always had a good time on that. But anyways, enough for the rambling. Let's get into this week's Monday Night Raw. I know that's what you guys are all wanting to hear from. So Monday Night Raw, I mean, look, I don't know really. I just kind of think that I think this show just kind of missed a few things, but it's as well as that. I mean, the wrestling on the show was really lackluster. I mean, there was a very promo heavy show, a lot of long segments. I mean, the opening segment was your usual 20 minutes. We had the Rusev segment that went pretty long. The John Cena promo went forever. So we had some long promo segments on the show. Of course, the show finished with a bit of a promo segment as well. So not that many matches on the show that were really worth talking about. And, the United States Championship Open Challenge has generally been one of the big highlights of the show. But this week we had Zack Ryder accepted, and we all knew he was going to lose. And Cena, geez, he just kicked out of everything that Zack Ryder had with ease, just powering at it too. I mean, he couldn't just get the shoulder up in the nick of time. He just powered out of it. So poor Zack Ryder. But hey, at least he got a match. At least he got to perform in his hometown. That's kind of cool. But yeah, there's really not a lot of talking points. I know Elimination Chamber is a filler pay-per-view. Let's be real. It's a filler pay-per-view. It's a good way to have the IC title on the line. I like it for that. And it's a nice, different dynamic to get the tag team division going a little bit, even though some of the tag teams in that are pretty poor. I mean, yeah, come on. Los Matadors, Ascension. When are the last time they've won a match that's been relevant? When are the last time they've been relevant? In a long time. So it's a little frustrating to see that go down a little bit. Obviously, when you have Harper and Rowan waiting, you could have used them. So I think that's definitely what they should be going with that. I still hope that they take out take out the Matadors or even the Ascension and take their spot. It'd have to be in the Matadors to probably make more sense, but I'm still hoping they kind of do that. I doubt it, though. Someone told me that, look, they're just trying to save them, build them up, give them a slow build, not trying to rush them in because they don't want them to lose too early on, and I guess that's a fair point. They don't want them to get the titles too early, don't want them to lose as well too early. They want them to have a bit of a slow build up. So if that's what they're trying to do, then okay, that's fine. And but you still have them on the show. I think it's I don't think they're on the show. There's a few names missing from this week's show. I don't recall Bray Wyatt being on the show. Maybe I missed it. And where's Randy Orton been? I don't recall seeing him on the show either. So I guess kind of Elimination Chamber is segregating the roster a little bit. If you're not on the show, you're not on the Chamber pay-per-view, they're kind of just pushing you aside, not really doing anything with you. I mean, Roman Reigns isn't on the show, and he's just kind of been Dean Ambrose's sidekick for the last couple of weeks. So I guess they didn't want Randy Orton to be the third guy, so they just kind of kept him off and, kept him off TV for a couple of weeks. So I guess that's kind of fine. And I mean, I think after that, Money in the Bank is going to be the build-up, but even though the Money in the Bank build-up is going to be, 2-3 weeks, so really not a lot they can do in that time. But still, I think Money in the Bank is going to be a pretty good show. I don't know, I'm not going to give my predictions just quite yet for it, but obviously we're still in the Elimination Chamber, but it's kind of annoying, like I said in the last few shows, how the build-up is so small. We don't get much time, not enough breathing room. I think we go from Payback and then 2 weeks later it's Elimination Chamber. What? To try and build a feud that's going to be interesting is very difficult. Obviously they've had the Elimination Chamber matchup to sell the pay-per-view, sell the match itself, so that's pretty easy to do. So they've been very lucky that they've had that option, but if they didn't, I don't know. I think this Elimination Chamber would be pretty shitty, but they've been lucky that they've had this tool up there, in their arsenal. So, other than that, look, Monday Night Raw what else is there to really say? I mean, the Rusev and Lana thing was really good. I like that. Obviously, Lana kind of basically full gone away from Rusev now, and Rusev, I don't know, what, he's gone back to being Bulgarian. It's like, what? You know, I still think they shouldn't have changed it from the get-go. I get, you know, I'm going to probably cop some flack for this, but I think the reason why they changed it from him being Bulgarian to Russian is because nobody knew where Bulgaria is. Nobody knows what Bulgaria is. Nobody's heard of Bulgaria. It's not mainstream enough for people to go, oh yeah, I hate that. Whereas Russia, they go, oh, Putin, yeah, we don't like him. You know, Russia, yeah, okay, we don't like them. It's just a stereotypical, we don't like them, using whatever little bit of heat there is with Russia and America to fuel this character. And yeah, it's obviously worked. People obviously boo when the Russian flag comes along, but for him, I guess just from 1 week to go to Russian to Bulgaria, it's just kind of like, what? You know, with no explanation? Maybe there was. Maybe it was on SmackDown. I didn't see it. But from him just to go from 1 week Russian, the next week Bulgarian, it's just kind of like, what the fuck? So, I don't know. I didn't get that. You know, I guess the only explanation in my mind for it is maybe Lana was Russian, and she convinced Rusev to go to Russia and, you know, represent Russia. And now that Rusev's no longer with Lana, he's no longer Russian, and he wants to go back to his home roots. If that's the case, okay, maybe I missed out on the show, but you know, at least that's somewhat of an explanation. That's at least that's what I get out in my mind from that situation. But like I said, a good segment there, and you know, Dolph Ziggler and Lana, I'm not sure how I kind of feel about this, but so far I'm okay with it, and I'm kind of liking Rusev in this role. You know, it's either, you know, Rusev's kind of like, yeah, I don't need you, I don't want you, but as soon as Lana goes to somebody else, he's like, wait a minute, you're mine, I'm not letting you go to anyone else. Just because I don't want you doesn't mean anyone else can have you. So I kind of like this, I really do, and I like this little situation of Rusev and Ziggler. So I'm interested to see where this one goes. I'm guessing at the Chamber, Rusev might beat the crap out of Ziggler and probably pin him. Maybe Ziggler might get the better of Rusev as well. It's possible. I think it could go either way. But I'm guessing this will set up a Rusev and Ziggler rivalry. And I don't know what the situation with Lana is. Will they have Lana turn on Ziggler and go back with Rusev? Will they have Lana stay with Ziggler and keep against Rusev? I don't know. It certainly could go either way right now. And I guess Lana's really the wild card in the situation. So that's kind of exciting to see. But I still don't know if I think Rusev can survive without Lana. I'm a big fan of Rusev, don't get me wrong. But Rusev and Lana is a really good package. And you kind of split that apart for no good reasons. Kind of like, well, why? Why are we doing this? So, and Lana by herself as well, what can she do? You know, she's going to be a valet for Ziggler. It's kind of like, what? You know, I don't know if it really makes sense for her. Is she going to go back to using the American accent? They're going to Americanize her and get her away from this Russian stigma altogether? Perhaps. That's probably the way they should be going, and probably the way they will go down the road, but it's very interesting to see. I don't know if Lana can really keep the momentum that she's got without Rusev, because I think Rusev plays that bad guy so well that it allows people to have sympathy for Lana, and allows people to feel for Lana and want her to get away from Rusev and want her, you know, to be free and you know, be able to do what she wants. So I guess without Rusev in that role, once they finish up this feud, where does Lana go from there? Can Lana keep going? Will she keep the momentum? I don't know. I just pairing her with Ziggler, and for the long term, I don't think is a good idea. But for the short term, for just this rivalry, that's fine. But definitely for the long term, probably not the way to go. Other than that, there's really not a lot to talk about. I mean, the Ambrose and Rollins thing, I mean, they had the whole Ambrose push the cameraman thing and punch the cameraman. It kind of makes no sense anyways, because you think about it, he had a verbal agreement on our last episode of Raw. So he had a verbal agreement, and as far as I know, a verbal agreement is just as good as a written contract. You know, a verbal contract is still a contract. So the need to have something in writing is absolutely irrelevant, because they've already said, both have agreed, you're going to get the match, and, you know, they both agreed to it. Yeah, do you want the match? Yes. Okay, you've got it. Done. Contract over. They don't need to sign anything. They've already done it. So for them to be fighting over a written contract is ridiculous. And we all knew it was going to happen anyways. We all knew he was going to come back and sign it anyways. Didn't know Roman Reigns was going to get involved, but okay, he got a decent pop for it, and I think the crowd was very hot for Ambrose. Ambrose was crazy over tonight. It's good to see. Ambrose should be in this role. Ambrose is awesome, so I'm very happy to see that he's finally getting the push that he needs and deserves, so that's great. But, so the whole contract thing was a bit silly, and punching the cameraman, found out that it was Rollins who pushed the cameraman into Ambrose. So, okay, whatever, but it is what it is, and it turned out to be a decent little final segment anyways, Ambrose and Rollins getting the better of the Authority like normal. So, yeah, and I guess other than that, really, Monday Night Raw, not a lot to talk about. It was a pretty filler-based show, I think, just kind of rolling along and keep ticking around waiting for the Elimination Chamber to come about, and it pretty much showed within it. So, we could pretty much tell they were just kind of waiting it out and kind of using this as a bit of a filler show. There's some things developed, and they just kind of kept going with a few things. Oh yeah, Kevin Owens laying out Cena again. It was cool, and like I said, the Zack Ryder thing in Cena, that was like, we've seen, I guess because of the fact we've seen Neville, we've seen Zayn, seen Owens, to have Zack Ryder, it's just kind of like, it's a little disappointing. We kind of knew that and kind of expected it, and I think that was just basically set up to give the crowd, Zack Ryder, give them what they want. They're kind of hot for Zack Ryder. There was some chance for him, so that was kind of cool. And obviously, we knew Owens was probably going to come out at the end and beat him up, which is exactly what happened. So that was good, and it was a nice little way to keep that little rivalry going. And speaking of that rivalry, we might as well head into and segue into Elimination Chamber. So we'll start it off with the Owens and Cena match. Who is going to win? Let's get into some predictions. Let's get into what I think is going to happen. Last week I pitched the idea of Cena and Owens having a match at Elimination Chamber and then having another one at NXT and kind of, settling the score there and then leaving it open for another third match down the line. Probably not going to go with that. I doubt they're going to do that, but I still think in my mind that'd be pretty cool. And I like the fact that they are bringing up the NXT guy and having him feature a little bit on Raw. It's kind of cool, like him featuring on two different shows. It kind of feels like he's on two different brands, and he's kind of like a bit of a must-see kind of guy, and also really raises his value and raises his stock in NXT, that this guy, okay, he's on Raw, he's doing this thing on Raw, but he's also the NXT champion, so this guy, he's pretty valuable here, and he's doing really well, so he's on the verge of breaking through, but he's still the NXT champion, so he's still the guy to beat, so it kind of makes NXT like, well, the whole NXT roster is going against Owens because, at least in my mind, because Owens thinks he's probably better than NXT. He's going up to the main roster trying to do all these other things whilst being the NXT champion. So let's try and get that belt off him. And, it could be a NXT versus Owens kind of situation if they kind of think about doing it like that. But certainly right now, I do like the fact Owens is up. And the Cena and Owens thing is cool. I think it's obviously a short-term little deal just to kind of make Elimination Chamber a little bit more interesting and give us something a bit different, which is cool, which I like. That's what they need to do. And Owens, I think this is a bit of a testing the waters a little bit, see how he goes, see how the crowd reacts to him, and give him a bit of a teaser before he goes into the main roster full-time. When he will go on the main roster full-time, I don't know. I think a lot of people are in agreement that Owens in the Authority would definitely work really well, and Owens in that role would be great. So, and we saw Triple H kind of watching Owens and going, yeah, okay, I like this guy, he's good, yeah. Just having his eye on him. So I think that's the WWE also a little teasing that as well. Potentially Owens could go on the Authority at some point. If that's the case, then definitely that would be great. But I do like Owens on the main roster, and I think Cena is going to win. But what I would like to see happen, and I don't know if they will quote-unquote waste this moment at the Elimination Chamber, but what I would like to see happen is Kevin Owens is about to beat Cena or something like that, and then Samoa Joe comes out and continues that little rivalry they've been building. Samoa Joe comes out, makes his pay-per-view debut, crowd goes nuts, crazy moment, comes out, lays out Owens. Whether he helps Cena to win, I don't know, or if he just lays him out before or after the match, after Owen perhaps wins, I don't know. But for Joe to come out, maybe cause the DQ, just come out when Owens is about to win, and allow Owens to have the DQ win, but Joe gets the last laugh and takes out Owens, but Owens still wins. You still protect Cena, he didn't lose. You still protect Owens, he didn't really lose. And, you continue that little NXT thing going on. And since it's on the network as well, you obviously want to start building towards Samoa Joe and NXT. And if it's on the network, then people can obviously go ahead and access NXT. And I dare say they're going to be plugging the living hell out of NXT during that Owens match anyway. So you may as well bring out Joe and continue that little thing going. And will it really affect Samoa Joe coming up the main roster for a night, making an appearance? I don't think so. I mean, I think it'd be pretty cool. He comes in, does a run-in. I think that's a great way to debut him, and people can go, oh, wow, okay, Samoa Joe. Maybe people aren't aware and are not watching NXT, but they kind of have an idea of Samoa Joe, know who he is from before. They might see Samoa Joe and go, oh, holy shit, he's in NXT. Wow, okay. And, come and see and watch NXT. I think it's a good way to build NXT and keep that going. And obviously, that's probably the main drawing point of the network for a lot of fans. I personally don't watch NXT on a week-to-week basis, but I do like the takeover specials. But, yeah, so obviously you want to keep building NXT and you want to keep selling it, and that's a great way to do it. I think they should do a little bit more integration between the two shows. I think they're starting to get along to doing that. And I think NXT, there's a question coming up in today's episode, will it survive it as its own brand? I don't think it's going to ever be its own brand, but you can still sell it as a top show and as a must-see show by doing things like this. But like I said, I think there's going to be some kind of screwy finish. If not, Cena probably wins like usual, and to keep him look good. I mean, it would make no sense for Owens to win and then not be on the main roster. You just have Cena lose to Owens. What for? No reason. So you can say, well, fuck, we hate Cena, but it would make no sense for Owens to beat Cena if that's the case. But as well as that, we have the Divas match for Naomi versus Nikki Bella. Look, that match is what it is. I missed the Divas match today. I think it was Paige and Tamina. I think I missed that. I had to step out, so I didn't see that one. But yeah, this is just whatever. I mean, Naomi, I don't really want her to be champion. I'm very happy with Nikki as champion. Unpopular opinion, but I like the Bella Twins. Don't care what you guys say. I like the Bella Twins. Yes, they can't act. Yes, they can't talk. Well, Nikki can a little bit. Bree's horrible, but they've improved in the ring. Yes. Are there better wrestlers out there? Yes. Are the NXT Divas better than them? Yes. But right now for the Divas division, where they're at, having Nikki with the belt is a safe option. Because obviously, Naomi, she's decent. I think she's okay, but she's looking a little bit goofy right now. I don't know, I just don't care for her at all. I think ever since they turned her heel, the first night was like, okay, well, okay, yeah. And then they had her at that pay-per-view match, and she lost or whatever, and she got screwed. And she looked like an absolute goof, and it was just ridiculous. And ever since then, I just can't take her seriously. So just keep Nikki with the belt, keep building her up as champion, and then eventually just bring up Sasha Banks or Charlotte or somebody and have them beat Nikki for it. And obviously you have Nikki champion for probably, 8-9 months at that point. She's been the champion forever. She's beaten everyone. Who's left for her to beat her? Sasha Banks comes out, NXT champion, Divas champion, Women's champion, beats Nikki, and, wow, okay, she's arrived, and here we go. So you could do the same thing, had Owens and Cena, you could do the same thing with the Divas, have Nikki Bella come out and say, look, I beat everyone, who's there left to beat? I'm a fighting champion, I'm going to fight and beat everybody. And then have Sasha Banks or Charlotte or somebody come out and, challenge Nikki for a match at the next pay-per-view. It's pretty easy. It's not hard to do. And, we've seen Paige with the belt enough. I would keep the belt off her for a while. I mean, yes, Paige definitely is great. Paige is fantastic, but keep the belt off her for a while. She doesn't need the belt right now. She's the top diva, in my opinion. Keep the belt off her and just let Nikki and some other people hold it whilst they bring up some other divas to contend with Paige. Well, you keep Paige relevant, you keep her winning, and you give her some pay-per-view matches for non-titles, or even, you throw in these triple threats and fatal four-way matches to keep her going, but don't give her the belt. And save that for a later date, because I think Paige, she's going to be a champion multiple times, so they give her the belt too many times now. I mean, God, she might have like a 10-time reign by the end of her career, so let's just be a bit more patient with Paige. Let's just hold off on her having too many title reigns too early, and let's just give some other divas, pun intended, give other divas a chance. So, yeah. And look, moving on from that, what else have we got? The Tag Team Elimination Chamber match. Realistically, I only see Cesaro and Kid or the New Day winning this one. Cesaro and Kid just lost the tag titles, and the New Day doing very well as tag champs. I could obviously see the New Day coming out as the champions still. But I do like Cesaro and Kid as a tag team. I'm really liking that. It's really growing on me. I think those two guys are great. And Natalya there, she always looks good. So that's a really good combination. I'm really liking that team. They need to start building up some other teams, though, because what Cesaro and Kid and the New Day are done, well, who's next? Lucha Dragons, they were building them up, then they weren't on Raw for like a month. So I was like, what? Where are they? So they kind of dropped the ball on that, so they need to try and build up some other teams and get that going a little bit. But obviously those two teams, New Day and Cesaro and Kid, are probably the only two teams who realistically have a chance. I mean, Lucha Dragons are an outside possibility, but I doubt it. I don't think they've had any build-up whatsoever, so there's no point. It's all been around Cesaro, Kid, and the New Day. Let's just keep it at that. One of those teams will walk out as the champion. I still think the New Day is probably going to, just scurry away. They'll get some heel kind of victory. Maybe they'll cheat somehow, and they'll come away with the championships. Probably the one match that I'm not too sure where this one's going to go. I have an idea, but I'm not exactly sure. The Elimination Chamber match for the IC title, the 6-man match, what is it? Truth, Barrett, Rusev, Ziggler, Sheamus, Ryback. Those 6 guys in this chamber match. I think the favorite has to be Sheamus, and I personally would probably go with Sheamus, but you never know. Ryback's a chance. He's never held a belt before, a singles belt. He hasn't held a belt at all, actually. I don't know why. He should have had a belt by now. So Ryback's definitely a chance. Rusev himself is still a chance. Even though he just lost the US title, had a feud for it, he could still win the IC title. I could see that happening. You already have a Rusev and Ziggler feud going. Have the feud for the IC title. Make that pretty interesting. Make that going. Because who is Sheamus really feuding with right now? I think he's not really feuding with anybody. He had the thing with Ziggler. They've kind of moved on from that now. So Sheamus hasn't really got anything going. So maybe they'll give him the belt and they'll start something with him with the belt, and keep Ziggler and Rusev separate from the belt to keep that, because that's probably got enough steam by itself that they don't really need the belt to center that feud around. But obviously it would elevate it and obviously help it out. But if they want to keep that separate, who do you go with next? Sheamus gets the belt. I would go Sheamus and Ryback. Have that little feud for the belt. I would like to see that. I think that's a feud that I think would be really cool, really entertaining. So that's probably where I would go with that. And Ziggler, probably no chance. I really hope Bad News Barrett doesn't get anywhere near it. As you guys know, I'm not a fan of him. This King Barrett thing has sucked, and I knew it was going to suck. It's pretty predictable. It's just going nowhere. It was just an idea that they thought of, randomly. Like, hey, let's bring back King of the Ring. Oh, why not have Barrett win? And he's English. He can have the royal crown. That sounds good. Yeah. And then they didn't know what to do with it next, and they really had no long-term plan for it. And I think he got beat on Raw this week as well, so there you go. And no Neville in that match, by the way, who is having a match with Bo Dallas. Let's be real, Neville's probably going to win this one. Just kick Bo Dallas to the curb. Who cares about that guy? He had a good run. He was looking good. Had that streak going. Really building momentum. Then they just squashed it instantly, and I have not cared for him ever since. Just a joke now, and he's just a glorified jobber at this point. Let's be real. He never wins any matches. If he does, it's against nobodies. He's barely been on TV. He just comes on here and there randomly. Just not working. He's just a guy who gets laid out nowadays. He's kind of like on the level of Heath Slater nearly. It's just a joke at this point. He has a tiny little bit of credibility left in him, but look, I think Neville should win this one. If not, Bo Dallas will win by cheating or something ridiculous, because they're not going to have Neville lose clean to Bo Dallas, that is for sure. And finally, I think we've already kind of mentioned this one, but Ambrose and Rollins. Still think Rollins is going to win. Still think he's going to win. Probably by interference. Let's be real. Every single goddamn Rollins match has somebody helping him out. And they probably want Ambrose to still look strong heading in towards Money in the Bank. So I can obviously see J&J and Kane, the same old shit, coming out to help Rollins, who needs all the help in the world to win. Because for some reason, this guy has no ability whatsoever to win by himself. So it's just kind of like, yep, whatever. So I still think that's going to happen. I think, let's be real, Rollins should be champion. I do like Ambrose. Giving him the belt now doesn't need to happen because I think Rollins is going to be champion at least until SummerSlam. You've got the Rollins and Lesnar feud that's on the shelf waiting to go. You're not going to screw that one up. Let's just have that. Let's keep Rollins with the belt. Whether we drop it to Lesnar or not, I don't know. Whether we have somebody cash in on Rollins and take the belt from him, that's a possibility to kind of, maybe Roman Reigns wins Money in the Bank, cashes in Rollins to take it away from him and, steal back the belt like Rollins did. I don't know. But plenty of possibilities to happen down the line, but let's keep Rollins with the belt right now. And that's pretty much going to do it for our Elimination Chamber coverage. We've got plenty of questions to answer as well. And before we get into that, let's get into our What is Brendan Playing This Week segment. So this week, what am I playing? Well, I'm pretty sure everyone else is playing this one with me. The Witcher 3. Just started it, and I think I'm 4 or 5 hours in. I'm on to the next area. I know the starting area. You do the mission. Spoilers coming up. You do the mission. You kill the Griffin. You go back. You go to the pub, and you meet with the girl, and then you go race off to the next area. I've done that. And I'm going a little bit further ahead than that as well. So I'm kind of in this next area. I don't know where to go. The Witcher is pretty big, so it's kind of like, holy shit, where do I go? What? You don't really know where to start, so it's kind of a bit daunting going into this next area. But I'm starting to get into it. I first started playing it, and I was kind of like, yeah, okay, this is good. I know this is going to be good, but I just can't quite get into it. Because the fact is, I haven't played Witcher 1 and 2, and I'm starting to really feel that disconnect from the game. There's some things that have been happening in the previous 2 games that I'm not 100% aware of. I watched a few clips to kind of keep me up to date, but I'm just kind of forgetting that. I'm struggling to keep it up with it, so I'm a little bit behind in that regard. So the story of Witcher 3 is just going over my head a little bit, but I'm starting to get it a little bit now, and I'm starting to get into it because I'm just starting to understand the story a little bit more, and that's made it a little bit more interesting in my mind. And just kind of mindlessly going ahead and doing some side quests and doing shit like that is kind of okay, but I want the story behind it. I want to get into it. I want to get to know the characters a little bit more and have that connect with the game. And I'm starting to get that now, which is really exciting and really great. I'm very happy to have that. And like I said earlier on in the show, been doing the Battlefield gaming nights with the forums, so obviously playing a lot of Battlefield. New Battlefield DLC coming out really soon. Very, very excited for that. Cannot wait to get my hands on that. I love Battlefield Hardline. I know some people didn't like it, but to me, you just have to give it a chance. You have to get some friends on it, and you're going to have a blast. It's really, really fun. Love it. Fast-paced action. My style, baby. Let's go. Blood money, heist. I even like the kind of the one life matches, Crossfire and Rescue. Those game modes are awesome. So I really, really love Battlefield Hardline, and like I said, playing with friends is fantastic. So cannot wait for the new DLC, which will give us some new weapons, some new maps, even a new game mode. That's great. Really happy, looking forward to seeing what they do with that, and cannot wait to get my hands on it. I also just bought The Order, 1886, I believe the number is. Whatever, you know what I'm talking about. So I bought The Order. It was on sale, very cheap, and I've been looking to get The Order since it came out. I just wanted to wait for a big price drop because I know it's a very short game and about a 10-hour platinum. So I haven't downloaded it yet, but I'm going to do that soon. I'm just going to probably wait till I play some more Witcher. Maybe I'll play The Order down the line. I also bought Wolfenstein: The New Order, The Old Blood last week, as I mentioned, and I haven't played that one yet. So there's a lot of games I've got, a lot of games I haven't played yet. I still haven't played The Evil Within. I barely played Alien Isolation. Too many games, too little time. I've been very tied up doing assignments and got exams and things coming up. So after that, after probably my birthday, really, which is in about 3 or 4 weeks, I have a 4-week break. So lots of gaming is going to get in there, and lots of gaming time, and lots of video time as well. You know, I've struggled to get some videos out recently because I've had so many things to gotta do. So I can't miss a Tuesday though, and probably a segue as well. You know what I'm doing this week. I don't know if any of you Australians are watching, but State of Origin on this week. I'm a big rugby league fan, as you guys know. So State of Origin this week. Who am I supporting? My boys, New South Wales. I'm a Blues supporter. So all you Australians out there who live in Queensland and New South Wales, if you're a Queenslander, I do live in Queensland, but if you are a Queenslander, you're probably just hate me right now. You probably just turned off the video and you probably no longer like me anymore. But if that's the case, fair enough. But here's the kicker. I think Queensland is going to win. So I'm not looking forward to it 100%, but it should be a good night anyways. I love State of Origin, always the best matches of the year. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that one goes about. And yeah, so look, New South Wales, their team this year, some injuries are really impacting us, so it's going to be very tough to come away with the victory. Keep my eye on the NBA playoffs as well. Obviously, Golden State and the Cavs are doing really, really well, so that seems like where it's headed at this point. Who do I predict to win that finals series if it is going to happen? I just think the finals experience from LeBron might get them home, but obviously Golden State looking very, very good. Both teams looking pretty good. And I know the Cavs have some injury and concerns with Irving and whatnot, so perhaps their depth in their roster may let them down. But obviously that finals experience, LeBron, who's really stepping it up and starting to put up some big numbers lately, could get them home. But I think it's going to be a very entertaining final series. I need to get myself ready and find out the times of these games so I can watch the final series. I think I might actually do that. I haven't been watching them. I've just been keeping up some highlights and things like that. I've been very slack with my NBA viewing this season, but I want to try and get back into it. And obviously, keeping on the topic of sport, very close to the Australian versus West Indies Test series as well. So very much looking forward to that. Big cricket fan, as you guys know. And that's a couple of weeks away, or maybe a week away now. And then after that, the Ashes are coming up. So, Sheepy, you're on the forums. If you're listening, get ready, son. England, Australia's coming, mate. But, yeah, looking forward to that. And, yeah, so lots of sport is happening right now. Very exciting time in sport. A lot of finals and things like that are going about. And as a big sports fan, I love it. I love it. Okay, so that will do it for that. Let's get into your questions for this week's episode. Alright, so the first question comes from Sandman444A. What were your thoughts on NXT TakeOver Unstoppable? Do you think that Samoa Joe should have debuted on the main roster, or do you think he is fine in NXT? Look, I did watch NXT TakeOver. Some of you guys were asking me questions if I actually watched that or not. I did watch NXT TakeOver, and what did I think of it? I truly only watched the second hour. I kind of watched the first matchup with Balor and Breeze. There we go. Balor and Breeze. I really loved Balor's body paint. That was amazing. It was incredible. He had a really good entrance, and Tyler Breeze had a kick-ass entrance as well. I really liked that. So, 2 cool entrances in that one. That was really just a match for entrances. I didn't watch whatever else came after that. I know it was Rhino and Corbin. It was a Divas tag match or something like that. I didn't really watch any of that, but I did watch the Lynch and Banks match, which was probably one of the best women's matches I've ever seen. That was amazing. That was fantastic. Absolutely loved that. You know, really, really good. I didn't know Becky Lynch was that good. When people talk about the NXT women, I'm not going to call them divas. I'm going to call them women. They talk about Charlotte, they talk about Banks, they talk about Bayley. Not a lot of people talk about Becky Lynch, so I didn't really know that she was that good. And she had a different look as well. The orangey hair, it was kind of a bit different, but I didn't mind that. Didn't think it looked bad. But yeah, forget about her look. She was great in the match. Really good matchup. So I didn't know she was that good, so it kind of surprised me as well to see her put on that great of a matchup. So that was very refreshing, very exciting to see, and it just goes to show. They gave him 15 minutes. They tore the house down. Best match of the show. Just shows to show women can work just as well as the men sometimes. So you just have to give them a chance. Like I said, give Divas a chance. and they might be able to impress. Obviously, the Divas on the main roster right now, maybe not so much, but definitely they have women on the rise that can certainly take this Divas division into heights that it hasn't been seen for a long time. And obviously, the big thing that happened on the show, the Owens and Zayn match, that was just a no contest. Not much really happened there. That was just a match to kind of set it up for what was going to happen at the end. Obviously, Joe got the better of Zayn and basically just about finished him off. And so that's a bit of an injury angle to get Zayn off TV for a while. And Samoa Joe came out, which was amazing. I freaked out. I was out of my chair watching. I was so happy to see him. It was really, really cool. Really, really awesome. Loved it. I think the segment was great. Probably like one of the only things that really bugs me about NXT a little bit is the fact that they just kind of hold it onto the camera way too much. Like, I mean, we had Joe and Owens, and then Owens walked away from the ring, fair enough. And they go back to Joe, and they close it out, but they had to bring back Owens back out there and tease it again. It's just kind of like, well, that really wasn't needed, I don't think. But that's just nitpicking. The segment was great. Joe looked great. Owens played his part fantastic. Just a great segment. Just really happy to see Joe out there. And should he be on the main roster? Probably. But I think this little thing he's doing on NXT is fine. I'm kind of happy for it. I'm kind of enjoying it. And the fact that they've let him keep his name is great. He's still working indie dates as well, so he hasn't really committed to full-time NXT, full-time WWE, so that's a little bit concerning in my opinion. I mean, it's great that he can still work elsewhere, and I mean, that's going to really increase his name value for sure. But I would like him to be locked down NXT so I know that they're fully committed to Samoa Joe. So I'm not exactly sure what they're doing with that there. But I still think he's going to make the main roster one day. I hope he does. I think he could have a lot of great feuds up there, and I think it'd be very exciting to see. But him and NXT will give him the time that I think he deserves and needs to develop his character and give him that big feud to get him going, get his name out there. And also NXT, they can use a bit of buzz. They can use someone else coming in and make a splash. Obviously, the main roster would need that as well, but they've got all that exposure. People are watching it anyways. Let's try and promote NXT a little bit more. And I'm sure Triple H probably felt as though, look, this guy could be in the main roster for sure, but I want him in NXT. I think Triple H was a little bit guilty in that regard, perhaps, and thinking, oh yeah, I want him in NXT feuding with my guys. And why not? If Joe came up on the main roster, where do you honestly see him being right now? A Bray Wyatt feud? A Sheamus feud? Or a I don't know, Kane feud? Big Show feud? Would he be really doing anything all that interesting right now? Would he be in there right now with Seth Rollins at Elimination Chamber? No. Would he be in there at Money in the Bank, in the Money in the Bank match? Perhaps. But he would be in there fighting against Seth Rollins for the Money in the Bank? I don't think so. So, because of that, the timing right now, it's fine. Keep him in NXT. Let him do his thing now. Let him develop. I'm happy with that. Next up comes from Chicago Punk. Have you ever played any of the Uncharted or Halo series games? If so, do you like them? Of course, who does not honestly like Uncharted? Uncharted is a fantastic game. Probably one of my favorite series. Maybe even my favorite. Played all three. Platinumed all three. Loved all three. Played them. Beat them all twice. I think I beat Uncharted three times. I think Uncharted 2 is my favorite in the series for sure. I mean, that game was fantastic. Uncharted 3 kind of dipped away a little bit, and I didn't really like it as much as the first two, but still, it's a great game, don't get me wrong. So I'm really, really looking forward to Uncharted 4. Cannot wait for that. I'm definitely getting it 100%. Halo, though, I loved Halo 1. I played the shit out of Halo 1. I probably beat the campaign maybe 10 times on that. Me and my buddy, I'd go to his house. We would start from mission 1, and we'd finish the whole campaign in a day. We'd do that like once a month. It was crazy. We played that all the time. Loved it. Great game. Really, really good game. Didn't like Halo 2 all that much. Didn't play Halo 3. Didn't play Halo 4. I do have the Halo Remastered collection, and I played a little bit of that. Not enough to really, I should be playing that a little bit more, but I haven't put enough time into it. I tried playing it online, and it just wasn't working for me. I couldn't find games, and when I did, it took like 20 minutes to find a game, so that was very frustrating, so I kind of gave up on it. But I do like Halo. I do like Halo, and I probably will get Halo 5 when it comes out on the Xbox One. Next up comes from Zach Welch. Do you think Rollins has improved since the Rumble? Definitely. We all know Rollins is a great in-ring worker, but I think one of the things he's needed to improve on is his promo ability, and I think he has. I think promos have been one of Rollins' decent points. Like, he hasn't been bad. Let's be honest, he hasn't been bad. He's never been bad, but I think he's now improved his promo to the point where I'm comfortable with him talking for long segments. I think he's fine, and I don't get bored of his promos. I kind of enjoy them a lot of the time. So I do like Seth Rollins now as the complete package. That was the only thing I was really concerned about with him, but now it's the complete package. It's fine. He's doing well. Let's keep it going. And I know a lot of people are kind of a bit worried about Seth Rollins. Is he a failure of a champion? He's not a failure of a champion, so to say. I think he's just been a failure because of the way they've booked him. They've booked him as this chicken shit heel to the point where it's just unbelievable to even think that he could win a match by himself. It's just ridiculous. I mean, why does he need everyone to help him out every single week? So that's kind of annoying. They've always J&J in there doing all this dirty work. It just gets to the point where it's like, come on, Seth, get in there and fight yourself. It's just a little bit annoying, but hey, guess that's the whole point of being a heel, right? Next up from Joe Levy, when the Big Show comes back, what do you think he should do? I don't know it. I don't care. I mean, Big Show, should he retire? Probably not. But should he be in the position that he is right now? Getting the main events, getting booked so highly over these other up-and-coming guys? No, he should be putting over talent. I think the Big Show should be in a tag team. I think these older guys like Mark Henry, Big Show, and Kane should be tag team guys, teaming up and with a younger guy and helping them develop and helping them get over, using their, they've been on TV for decades, using that to help these guys establish themselves. That's really what these older guys should be doing, not getting in the fucking main event every single week, not facing Roman Reigns every freaking week. It gets boring. It's just Big Show, Kane, Rollins, rotated around with Reigns, Orton, Ambrose now. It's just kind of a bit ridiculous at this point. That's just the problem. We see the same shit over and over the Big Show. I mean, Big Show, I've been bored of him and just frustrated with him lately, but a couple of years ago, I was a fan of the Big Show. I liked him. So I just think the Big Show just doing the same thing over and over is just a little frustrating. So they're going to do something Big Show. Don't have him beat every freaking person. I mean, they absolutely killed Eric Rowan when they had the Big Show destroy him. That killed off Eric Rowan, and that just pissed me off beyond belief. I thought Rowan had potential. They had Big Show to squash him. That was the end of him. So Big Show, when he comes back, start putting over some talent. Next up is from Larry Williams. Since NXT is blowing up and growing so fast, do you think it'll be able to stand on its own as its own brand? Look, I still think NXT needs to serve its purpose. It's a developmental territory. It should be there. Yes, they could go and tour around and, get 2,000-3,000 people in. That's cool. That's great. Kudos to them. But for the most part, it needs to be the stepping stone for what is to come in the future. Look, you go to NXT, you make a character, you establish yourself, you get over, go to the main roster, and away you go. Hopefully NXT gets to the point where these guys can come in, they can debut there, and then you get them on NXT doing well, and then you just shift them over to the main roster, and you can immediately start going from there. It should be a developmental territory, but will they try and make it its own brand? I think they may try. I think they may go down that route. Is that the right call? I don't personally think so. I think you just keep it as what it is. If it gets to the point where it's so crazy that you need to put it on its own TV network, you need to give it all this time, then do it. Obviously, money talks, best for business, that's the way to go. And look, there's no real need to try and rush things, trying to overpush things. Is a Kevin Owens, can you sell him to the point where he's the next John Cena? Can you sell Finn Balor to that point? It's going to be tough. I don't think it really could stand and draw a high rating on its own. Does it sell on the network? Yes. But I think the numbers of people watching it every week is like 200, 300,000. So that's that's worse than TNA ratings. So that's on the network, though. Obviously, if that was on USA Network, that'd be different. But yeah, so NXT, could it stand on its own brand? Perhaps. Should it, though? I don't think so. Let's not try. 5 years' time, that's what I'm thinking about. 5 years' time, then we'll think about it. But for now, let's just let it be. We'll see what's coming in. Because once we have Owens, Balor, Itami, Joe, and UR Nation move up to the main roster, who do we have left coming through? There's not a lot of other indie guys around at the moment to replace some of these guys. So I think NXT, you may see the quality of NXT dip away a little bit once these guys start to move up to the main roster, and that could be a little concerning in my opinion for NXT. Next up, and the final question for today's episode, comes from Jeff Hardy Rules. Brendan, what do you think about the future of Neville? Look, I don't think Neville is World Championship material. I don't think he will ever win the world title, but I certainly think Neville screams IC title to me. Probably even US title, I guess. I mean, I think IC title will suit him more. But I think Neville's going to have that good mid to upper card career. I don't think he has the ability to get himself over to the point where he has to be pushed into that Daniel Bryan role. You know, has the flashy moves, but does he have the personality and the character to really get him to that point? No, he doesn't have the catchphrase at the moment, which is really what Daniel Bryan needed to get him to that next point, which is what a lot of guys need in this day and age. You realize a lot of the guys that are over are just because they catchphrase. I mean, Ryback doesn't get a lot of cheers when he comes out, but when the Feed Me More chant starts, everybody's doing it. So, and Daniel Bryan, when he first started, he wasn't getting a big pop. It was more the yes chants. Now it's obviously transcended into, yes, he's over. I'm not going to say he's not over. Yes, people are chanting for him and doing the yes chant as well. So he's definitely over, but it originated from the yes chant into that next level. So I think you definitely, having a catchphrase and having a chant is a great way to get yourself going. And I think Neville would definitely need something like that. I honestly don't know what he could do, what he could use, but he would definitely need something that everybody latches onto to get him to that next point, because I just don't think they'll ever push him to that role. Does he have a better look than Bryan? Yes. Do I find him more entertaining in the ring than Bryan? Questionable, debatable. Do I like Neville? Yeah, I do. I think Neville's good, and I'm a fan. So I don't want to push him too hard. But I think he is a potential Money in the Bank kind of winner, and maybe he'll win a world title that way. But I just think for now, IC title is really the only point that I can really see him going. He did cut a promo last week on Raw, and I have been pretty critical of Neville's promo ability, but I did enjoy that promo. I thought that was good enough. So I think he's obviously improving in that regard, which he definitely will need to. And obviously the accent as well. Probably going to, you know what the WWE is like. Just having an accent is just, wow, it's amazing. People talk differently. It's crazy. So just having an accent is going to probably hinder his chances even more. But the odds are stacked against him. Could he overcome it? We'll have to wait and see. Is he good enough? I think he can. Alright guys, that will do it for this week's edition of Let's Talk Tuesdays. And just before we go, I just want to give a quick thank you for everybody that went ahead and checked out Survivor Series. Big views for this pay-per-view, crazy amount of views, lots of likes, lots of love. So I want to thank everyone that came out and supported Survivor Series. That really means the world to me. And my channel's kind of been dipping away a little bit, but Survivor Series has kind of picked it up, and that's been really exciting to see a video of mine do so well and do some big numbers. So that's really great, and really, really exciting for me as well. You know, it's obviously a great time for my channel. You know, when you have these big pay-per-views, have the big video that kind of sets your channel off. You know, we saw with my WrestleMania video, that video did so well that it basically made my channel go boom, and kicked it off and gave me a bit of a subscriber increase. I don't think Survivor Series is going to do that, but Survivor Series getting some views, getting my channel out there a little bit more as well, and it's really, really promising, really, really exciting for me. So very, very happy with that so far. So just want to give you guys a quick thank you for everyone that went ahead and supported that show. And that's pretty much all I have to say this week, guys. If you want to leave a question for next week's episode, you can do that on the forums at BrendenPlayz.com/forums. Leave it there. Let me know what you think of this week's episode as well by following me on Twitter at BrendenPlayz. Tweet at me your thoughts on this week's episode. Love to know your opinions and thoughts on everything I talked about. And if you have a Facebook as well, BrendenPlayz Official is my Facebook page. 430 likes on Facebook. Can we get that to 500 likes? That'd be pretty sweet. So that's the next goal for that. And that's really all I have to say. You know, please leave a like on the video. Let's try and get 100 likes on the video. Make sure you subscribe as well to see more Let's Talk Tuesday episodes. And if you haven't already, get on the iTunes, leave a rating, download the show, subscribe to me on iTunes, follow me on Spreaker. You know what you got to do. Download the shows, Visit the website. There's so much to plug, so much to talk about, so little time because we're out of time. Guys, thank you so much for listening in, and I'll see you all next Tuesday.